The story begins with Ryuuji Takasu lives in a small apartment with his single mother, Yuusaku Takasu. Ryuuji has a habit of keeping everything clean and gets disgusted by the sight of anything dirty. Their apartment is overshadowed by a towering apartment complex. One morning, he wakes up and makes breakfast for Yuusaku before leaving for school. On the way, some boys accidentally bump into him and immediately offer their wallets as an apology. His appearance makes him look like a gangster, and people are scared of him. He goes to the school and hands the wallets to the department that deals with lost items. At school, he meets his friend, Yuusaku. As they are walking, Yuusaku's friend Minori walks in and greets the two of them. Takasu blushes, as he has a secret crush on her. Afterward, he runs into a little girl famously known around the school as the Palmtop Tiger, Taiga Aisaka. Everyone around suddenly expects the two baddies to fight, and their hopes are satisfied when Taiga punches Takasu and knocks him out. Taiga also turns out to be one of Minori's friends. After a meeting with the teacher, Takasu goes back to his class to get his bag. However, Taiga is also there and refuses to let him take it, as she accidentally put a love letter in his bag instead of Yuusaku's, who she has a crush on. Eventually, Taiga lets go of the bag and sneezes. She leaves the classroom and calls Takasu an idiot. At night, at his home, Takasu discovers the love letter and opens it, only to find out that there is nothing inside. Around 2 a.m., he wakes up from his sleep due to some weird noises. He checks the house and finds a window open. As he is about to close it, he gets attacked by Taiga with a wooden sword. Taiga wants Takasu to forget about the love letter, and the only way this can happen is if she kills him, or if he loses his memory. After a bit of fighting, Taiga is able to overpower him and is about to deliver the finishing blow until Takasu stops her by saying that the envelope was empty. After hearing this, Taiga collapses on the floor. Takasu makes some food for her as she is hungry, and gives her a handkerchief as she eats like a toddler. In an attempt to make peace, Takasu shows her the embarrassing stuff he has done for girls he loved: poetry, songs, and various playlists for different seasons. The two then agree to an alliance. Both like each other's best friend. Takasu likes Minori, and Taiga likes Yuusaku. In the morning, while he is making breakfast, he gets a screaming phone call from Taiga, who tells him to come to his balcony. When he goes there, Takasu is surprised to see that Taiga lives in the apartment building right next to his, with her window adjacent to his. Taiga then threatens Takasu to come to her place, but agrees to give him a few minutes to finish his breakfast. When Takasu goes there, he is immediately disgusted by the fact that the apartment, despite being luxurious, has a terrible stench. He tours the whole apartment and sees nothing but garbage and dirt. He then goes to Taiga's room and finds her sleeping, so he decides to tidy up the whole place. When Taiga wakes up, she is surprised to see her apartment clean and breakfast on the table. As the apartment is clean, her unpredictable sneezing is reduced. She eats the food and thanks the rice god and farmers for the meal, instead of the one who made it. Taiga begins developing a habit of coming over to Takasu's house for food, as she can't make it herself. While walking to school, the two run into Minori, who starts to misunderstand their relationship. Later, Takasu and Taiga make plans to get close to the people they like. During gym class, the two plan to injure Yuusaku's partner so Takasu can take her to the infirmary, and Taiga will take her place. However, when the time comes, Taiga gets distracted seeing Yuusaku with a girl and gets hit in the face. After this plan fails, Taiga decides to give some cookies to Yuusaku and searches for him in the class, but he is nowhere to be seen. A student tells her that Yuusaku just left for a run, so the duo chases after him. While doing so, Taiga slips on the stairs and Takasu catches her, but this gives Yuusaku time to get away, and the cookies fly out of the window. Seeing her depressed, Takasu eats all the cookies in an attempt to make her feel better and says they were delicious. The next day, the whole class starts to think that Taiga and Takasu are in a relationship because they are seen together outside of school multiple times. Minori learns about this and takes the two to the rooftop. She tells Takasu to take care of Taiga. Yuusaku happens to be there as well, which complicates the situation even more. At night, Taiga is depressed about this and starts taking her anger out on a pole. Takasu joins her and the two start to kick the pole together until it tilts a bit. Taiga then decides that she will confess to Yuusaku. The next day, Taiga tells everyone that she is not in a relationship with Takasu. Minori apologizes to Takasu as well for misunderstanding his relationship with Taiga. Taiga then confesses to Yuusaku outside the school. Takasu is nearby and is eavesdropping on their conversation. Yuusaku thinks that she is together with Takasu, but Taiga tells him that he is just a friend. She compliments Takasu a bit, which causes Yuusaku to misinterpret the conversation, thinking that she just wants to stay friends. After he leaves, Takasu meets with Taiga and offers to make her more food, but Taiga refuses to be with him anymore. Takasu then tells her that since ancient times, dragons have always followed tigers, so he will act as a dragon and stay by her side, since she is called the Palmtop Tiger. Taiga finally returns to her normal self and starts ordering him around again. She even gets happy on the inside, thinking that Takasu just called her by her first name. One day, as they are going to school, Takasu tells Taiga to sort her laundry properly and put the right clothes in the right basket. They then reach school and see Minori playing softball. Takasu drools over Minori, complimenting how cute she looks, when suddenly Taiga pokes him in the eyes. In class, Minori is decorating cell phones for everyone according to their preferences and offers to do one for Takasu as well, but he declines. At home, while Takasu is cooking food, he realizes that the rice cooker is broken, so he decides to go to a family restaurant named Johnny's with Taiga. At the restaurant, Takasu is surprised to see that Minori works there as well. Minori brings dessert for them and offers to give them extra portions of the food they order. The next day, Takasu forces Taiga to go to Johnny's so he can meet Minori again. While they are on the way, the two of them discover that Minori also works for a liquor store. The owner of the store is a secret admirer of Takasu's mom, who is a stage performer. He touches Takasu's butt to get a feel of Yasuko's jeans. The owner then tells them that he needs extra help today, so Takasu offers to help and makes Taiga join too. The owner tells Taiga to make a delivery on a bicycle. Since she doesn't know how to ride one, Taiga decides to push the bicycle to the destination. After she is gone, Minori and Takasu go to the storeroom to get more shochu, but they end up getting locked inside accidentally by the owner. The two then decide to spend their time singing and playing softball with empty bottles. Elsewhere, Taiga is on her way back and trips with the bicycle. She decides to take a little break and lies down on the grass pasture nearby. Yuusaku appears out of nowhere and is surprised to see her with a bicycle, as she didn't know how to ride one a year ago. When he leaves, Taiga feels motivated and decides to ride the bike, only to fall multiple times on her way back to the store. When she reaches the store, she learns that Minori and Takasu are missing, so she decides to look for them. Meanwhile, Takasu and Minori notice a window and decide to escape the storeroom through it. When Takasu reaches the window, he sees Taiga on the other side. Taiga enters the storeroom and kicks him in the face. One day, Takasu arrives at Taiga's apartment to make breakfast for her, but finds her still sleeping in bed. He wakes her up and goes to the kitchen to make breakfast. But along the way, he notices a box. He examines it and finds a ton of pictures of Yuusaku, most of them blurry. Taiga gets angry because of this, but admits that she can't take clear pictures of Yuusaku because she always moves with excitement whenever she sees him. Hearing this, Takasu offers to take pictures of Yuusaku for her. Taiga starts imagining the potential pictures he would take and wants him to take infinite photos of Yuusaku. At school, Taiga gets pissed at the student council president, Kano, during the morning assembly and is about to fight her, until the vice president of the student council, Yuusaku, stops her. Later in the cafeteria, Minori and Yuusaku join our favorite duo for lunch. Taiga doesn't want Yuusaku to know that Takasu makes lunch for her. However, when Yuusaku asks why their lunches are the same, Takasu says that he does it to get extra income, even though he earlier said that Taiga buys it. Taiga is still embarrassed, as Yuusaku now knows she can't make her own food. Later, while Yuusaku is playing softball, Taiga tells Takasu to take a picture of him. He begins configuring the camera, so Taiga gets impatient and starts taking blurry pictures again. At home, she tries to be helpful to Takasu while he cooks, but she isn't able to do much. After they eat dinner, Takasu offers to laminate Yuusaku's picture for Taiga. Taiga goes through the photos but is unable to select just a few to laminate. The next day, Takasu wants a picture of Minori as well and gets lucky when she gives him a picture of her eating pudding. He then meets with Taiga, who is still confused about which pictures to choose. She gives the pictures to him so he can decide for her. As he is going through the pictures, he is approached by Yuusaku, who accidentally reveals that the photos belong to Taiga. Yuusaku also shows a picture of Taiga that he has. Takasu is shocked to see it. Yuusaku then tells him that he once confessed to Taiga, but she rejected him immediately. On the school rooftop, Takasu asks Taiga about this. She admits that she rejected him initially because she didn't know much about him. But afterward, she started to notice him and ended up falling in love. What she loves about Yuusaku is that he is one of the few people who likes her for who she truly is. In the morning, while Taiga and Takasu are eating breakfast, his mom wakes up and complains that they are eating the omelet without her. Takasu tells her that he has packed her share in the fridge. Hearing this, she falls back asleep. Later, Takasu goes to Johnny's with Taiga so he can meet Minori. When they arrive, he finds out that she has taken the day off. After some time, Yuusaku arrives with his childhood friend Ami, who also happens to be the fashion model from the magazine that Taiga and Takasu are reading. Ami acts like a really nice and kind girl and even admits that people call her an airhead. However, her true personality is revealed when Takasu and Yuusaku go to the restroom. Yuusaku doesn't actually use the restroom and tells Takasu to carefully watch Ami while they're away. Once alone, Ami starts acting bossy and selfish toward Taiga. Taiga quietly endures her until she makes fun of her small size, at which point Taiga slaps her. Ami gets angry, but when she notices that the boys have returned, she starts crying. At home, Taiga declares that she never wants to see Ami again, as no sane person would claim to be an airhead. However, all her hopes are crushed when Ami shows up the next day in her class as a transfer student. All the boys immediately get a crush on her, and she wins everyone over by acting all cute and nice. Yuusaku tells Taiga and Takasu that he knew about the transfer, but didn't tell them because he wanted them to see her true nature. Even though she acts fake, Yuusaku doesn't hate her. He wants her to be her true self so people can be friends with the real Ami. Later, Ami follows Takasu to the vending machine and makes up a story about what happened at Johnny's, blaming it all on Taiga. However, Takasu doesn't believe her, but decides to act normally around her. In class, Taiga is not happy to see the two of them together. After classes are over, Takasu is cleaning Taiga's locker, which she spilled a drink in, and she is waiting for him alone in a classroom. Ami shows up and starts taunting Taiga. Taiga manages to scare her a bit, but Ami then suddenly tells her that she's told Yuusaku everything, and that he now hates her. Hearing this, Taiga goes into shock and stays in her room. When she eventually goes home, Takasu checks on her and sees that she is sad. He tells Taiga that Yuusaku knows the truth about her personality and what actually happened at the restaurant. Taiga gets a bit happy hearing this, but she's still frustrated about her height and weird nickname. At school, Ami tells the other girls that she doesn't diet, but also doesn't get fat because of her strong metabolism. Hearing this, Taiga and Minori start feeling up her stomach and call themselves the dieting warriors. Yes, the scene doesn't make much sense, but it's funny, so who cares? Pissed off by what just happened, Ami briefly lets out her true personality before crying. After school, as Takasu is going home with Taiga, Ami runs up to them and asks for help. She's being followed by a stalker outside the school. Taiga manages to scare the guy away by throwing a garbage bin at him. Ami then asks Takasu if she can hide at his home. Since Taiga can't allow that, she asks Ami whether a worn-out house is better or a luxury apartment. When Ami chooses the luxury apartment, Taiga takes her to her own place instead. The next day, Ami looks worn out and tired. Taiga made her perform impersonations of various characters all night. Yuusaku then asks Taiga to take care of Ami and help her stop pretending to be someone she's not, so she can make real friends. Taiga can't refuse Yuusaku, so she agrees. Later, when Ami approaches Taiga with a bunch of girls, Taiga invites her to lunch but threatens to leak the recordings of her impersonations when she refuses. So, Ami reluctantly joins them. During lunch, Ami notices that Takasu and Taiga are eating the same meal. She calls it out, so Taiga eats all of Takasu's lunch, leaving him only rice and nori, so it won't look like they're eating the same thing. Afterward, Yuusaku asks for volunteers to help clean the neighborhood around the school. Taiga forces Takasu to participate, as she wants to spend time with Yuusaku. However, her hopes are crushed when Yuusaku leaves with his student council group, leaving Taiga with Takasu, Ami, and Minori. Since she can't get along with Ami, Taiga drags Minori away and leaves the rest behind. While collecting trash, Ami slips on some mud and a frog climbs onto her, revealing her true personality. She then tries to return to her fake cute act, but Takasu tells her that he already knows her real nature and wants her to act like herself. Ami tells him that she's nothing without her fake personality. As they're talking, Ami suddenly runs off after noticing her stalker again. Takasu follows her, and they hide together from the stalker in the rain. At the same time, Ami tells Takasu that the stalker has ruined her life and forced her to transfer schools. But even now, he's not letting her live in peace. Soon, Taiga and Minori arrive nearby. Minori had noticed them running around. The stalker sees Taiga and finds her cute, so he takes a few pictures of her. Taiga gets angry and starts beating and chasing the guy. Ami is shocked that Taiga isn't scared at all of the kind of guys that have ruined her life and realizes that somehow, she's losing to both Taiga and the stalker. Seeing Taiga actually gives Amy some motivation. She decides to stop putting up her nice girl act and chases after the stalker. She destroys his camera and scares him so badly that he runs away crying. Afterward, she's happy that she finally rid herself of the stalker, though she admits she was very scared while doing it. Later, she goes to Takasu's apartment and starts getting really close to him. Before he can react, Taiga sees them like that and freezes in place. But that's the end of today's video. If you want the continuation, leave it in the comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel with the bell activated so you don't miss the next anime stories. Leave a like. It will help the channel a lot. I really appreciate it, guys. That's it. We'll see you on my next video. Bye.